finally happening. The cosmic clock, which has been ticking silently for nearly a century, is about to strike a chord that hasn't and oppos. Been heard since the world was engulfed in the fires of the 1940s. Tomorrow, the great awakener, Uranus, crosses the threshold into the airy, electric realm of Gemini. This is not merely a transit. It is a seismic shift in the collective consciousness. For 84 years, this specific frequency of innovation, chaos, and radical brilliance has been dormant, waiting for a generation ready to decode its lightning bolt messages. As the planet of revolution meets the sign of the twins, the very air we breathe will begin to hum with a new kind of intelligence. The structures of how we think, how we communicate, and how we perceive reality are being dismantled to make way for a truth so profound it may feel like a shock to the system. But amidst this global recalibration, there is a specific, urgent call sounding for three particular signs of the zodiac. For them, tomorrow brings a, in quote, shocking message, in quote, a sudden realization or an unexpected encounter that will serve as the, in quote, before and after, in quote, point of their entire lives. In this video, we will peel back the veil on this rare 84-year cycle. We will explore why the ancients feared and revered Uranus as the bringer of, in quote, heaven's fire, end quote, and how this transit will rewire your mind for the high vibrational age we are entering. Most importantly, we will identify the three signs standing directly in the path of this celestial lightning and how they can prepare to receive a message that changes everything. I will explain what this means for you in a moment. Before we go into this, I want you to do three things. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave the number 777 in the comments. This number has tremendous energy and will energize the video, aligning your vibration with the mathematical harmony of the universe. You can also share it with someone you want to benefit from this video and support their spiritual awakening. Now let's go deeper. To understand the magnitude of what occurs tomorrow, we must look back to the last time the sky held this specific configuration. The year was 1942. The world was locked in a struggle for its very soul, caught in the grip of a global conflict that redefined borders and ideologies. It was during this period, the last time Uranus journeyed through Gemini, that the world witnessed the birth of the atomic age and the first whispers of the digital revolution. Uranus is the, in quote, Prometheus, in quote, of the cosmos. Like the Titan who stole fire from the gods to give to humanity, this planet brings technology, liberation, and a sudden, sometimes violent, awakening. In the esoteric traditions, Uranus is considered the, end quote, higher octave, end quote, of Mercury. While Mercury rules the logical mind, the spoken word, and our local neighborhood, Uranus rules the divine mind, the cosmic internet that connects all souls. When Uranus enters Gemini, the sign of communication, it is as if a lightning bolt is being channeled through a copper wire. The ancient Hermetic texts speak of the principle of mentalism, and quote, the all is mind, the universe is mental, end quote. This transit is the ultimate manifestation of that truth. It suggests that the physical world is about to become more fluid, more responsive to our thoughts, and more chaotic as the old mental constructs dissolve. Historically, Uranus in Gemini cycles are eras of radical reorganization of information. During past transits, we saw the rapid expansion of the printing press, the development of the telegraph, and the rise of revolutionary political pamphlets. Philosophically, this represents the, end quote, deconstruction of the ego's narrative. End quote, we often tell ourselves stories about who we are and what is possible. Uranus arrives to shatter those stories, acting as a divine disruptor. In the Vedas, such moments are linked to the concept of vidyut, the flash of lightning that grants instantaneous enlightenment, or samadhi, to the seeker who is ready. This 84-year return is significant because it represents a full human lifespan. Most of us living today have never experienced this specific frequency. We are standing at the edge of a, end quote, great intellectual migration, end quote. We are moving away from the heavy, grounded, and often stagnant energy of the past few years into a cycle that demands flexibility, curiosity, and the courage to let go of, end quote, certainty, end quote. The ancient mystery schools taught that the, end quote, twin, end quote, energy of Gemini represents the bridge between the mortal and the immortal. With Uranus here, that bridge is being electrified. We are not just changing our minds. We are changing the very mechanism by which we perceive existence. As we look at the historical patterns of upheaval followed by unprecedented brilliance, we realize that the shocking nature of this transit is not meant to harm, but to wake us from a deep collective slumber. It is the cosmic alarm clock, ringing after nearly a century of silence. To grasp the mechanics of this transit, imagine the universe as a vast, intricate radio network. For the last 7 years, Uranus has been moving through the earthbound, steady sign of Taurus. The energy was heavy, focused on the physical world, our finances, and our connection to the soil. It was like a slow, rhythmic drumbeat. But tomorrow, the frequency changes. Uranus in Gemini is like switching from a low-frequency radio wave to a high-speed fiber optic beam. The drumbeat is replaced by a symphony of electric pulses. The core of this transit lies in the marriage of revolution and perception. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the messenger. It governs our curiosity, our social circles, and the way we process data. When the erratic, genius energy of Uranus enters this space, it creates what we call, the quickening. And, your thoughts will move faster. Synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that feel like a wink from the universe, will accelerate. You might think of a friend, and they call you a second later. You might wonder about a solution to a problem, and a book falls off a shelf, opening to the exact page you need. Think of Uranus as a cosmic hacker. It is currently bypassing the firewalls of your subconscious mind. Many of us have lived with, mental blockages, limiting beliefs that tell us we aren't smart enough, fast enough, or connected enough to succeed. Uranus in Gemini acts like a power surge that blows those fuses. It forces you to look at the world through a prism rather than a single lens. You will begin to see that reality is not a solid wall, but a series of interconnected doorways. The metaphor of the shocking message mentioned earlier is literal in this context. Gemini represents our short-range environment, our siblings, neighbors, and daily interactions. The breakthrough you have been waiting for likely come from a distant mountaintop or a silent retreat. It will come through a conversation, a headline, or a sudden realization during a mundane task. It is the aha, moment on steroids. However, this energy is inherently unstable. Uranus does not ask for permission. It demands change. In the first half of this explanation, we must understand that for the collective, this means a total upheaval in how we value truth. And we are moving into an era where information is decentralized. The shocking message for the world is that the old ways of learning and teaching are becoming obsolete. We are being asked to become our own sovereign thinkers, to tune our internal antennas to the cosmic broadcast rather than the noise of the crowd. This is the birth of, multidimensional thinking, you are being invited to hold two opposing truths at once, the duality of the twins, and find the spark of genius that exists in the tension between them. As we dive deeper into the electric waters of this transit, we must address the 3 specific zodiac signs that are standing at the epicenter of this cosmic storm. While the entire world will feel the shift, for Gemini, Sagittarius, and Aquarius, the entry of Uranus into the sign of the twins is not just a change in weather. It is a total rewiring of their destiny. For Gemini, this is your homecoming. Uranus is entering your first house of identity for the first time in your life. The shocking message for you is a radical realization of who you truly are, independent of the labels society or your family have placed upon you. You have spent years adapting to others, playing the chameleon. Tomorrow, the lightning strikes the mask, shattering it. You will find yourself speaking truths you didn't know you possessed and pursuing paths that would have terrified you a year ago. Sagittarius, the shocking message arrives through the mirror of the other, Uranus is moving into your 7th house of partnerships. An unexpected encounter, a sudden ending, or a lightning bolt proposal will shift the trajectory of your life. The universe is telling you that the way you have related to others, perhaps seeking freedom at the cost of depth, or vice versa, is being upgraded. You are being asked to find freedom within connection, a paradox that only Uranus can help you solve. For Aquarius, Uranus is your ruling planet, and as it moves into a fellow air sign, it enters your fifth house of creativity, joy, and legacy. Your, shocking message, is a spark of pure genius. An idea, a project, or even a sudden development regarding children or romance will feel like a download from the future. You are being reminded that you are not here to fit in. You are here to create the, new, The nuance of Uranus and Gemini is that it often manifests as, chaos, before it reveals itself as, order, Because Gemini is a mutable sign, fluid and ever-changing, the shock may initially feel like a loss of focus or a fragmentation of your plans. You might feel, scatterbrained, or overwhelmed by the sheer volume of insights pouring in. This is the, Uranian static, Imagine a radio being tuned to a higher frequency. Before the music comes through clearly, there is a moment of jarring noise. That noise is the sound of your old neural pathways being dismantled. The hidden aspect of this transit is that it requires us to surrender our need for a, linear, life. We are taught that we must go from A to B to C. Uranus in Gemini says you can jump from A to Z in a single heartbeat. The, shocking message, is ultimately an invitation to stop walking and start flying. But to do so, you must trust the air beneath your wings. Knowing that the lightning is about to strike is one thing. Knowing how to capture that electricity and use it to power your life is another. As Uranus enters Gemini, the, atmosphere, of your mind will become highly charged. If you do not provide a grounded outlet for this energy, it can manifest as anxiety, insomnia, or mental burnout. To harness this 84-year shift, you must treat your mind like a high-performance instrument. The first technique is the morning brain dump, or, the lightning rod, winky face. Because Uranus in Gemini accelerates thought patterns, you will likely wake up with a, static, of ideas and tasks. Before you check your phone or engage with the digital world, take a physical pen and paper and write for 10 minutes without stopping. Don and Oppos, worry about grammar or logic. This acts as a grounding wire, pulling the erratic Uranian energy out of your etheric body and into the physical realm. By doing this, you clear the, noise, so that the, shocking message, has space to land. Secondly, practice mindful information fasting. In a Gemini cycle, we are bombarded with data. To find the, cosmic wisdom, amidst the, digital noise, you must intentionally create pockets of silence. Set a, Uranus hour, each day where you disconnect from all devices. Use this time to engage in, associative thinking, walk in nature, doodle, or listen to high-frequency music, such as 528 Hz or 432 Hz. This shifts your brain from the analytical beta state into the intuitive alpha or theta states, which is where the true Uranian downloads occur. For the three signs mentioned, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Aquarius, this is especially vital. If you encounter a, shocking, piece of news or a sudden change in plans, do not react immediately. Uranus favors the, detached observer, Take 3 deep breaths and ask, how is this event liberating me? Every disruption under this transit is secretly a key to a cage you didn't in Oppos. Know you were in. Lastly, work with the element of air. Use breath work, pranayama, to move energy through your nervous system. The, breath of fire, is particularly effective during this transit to help your physical body match the speed of your shifting consciousness. If you feel overwhelmed, step outside and let the wind hit your face. Visualize the wind blowing away the stagnant thoughts of the last 84 years, making room for the electric future that is arriving tomorrow. Challenges will arise, specifically the temptation to speak before you think or to abandon projects too quickly for the, next big thing, Combat this by setting, 24-hour waiting periods, for any major decision sparked by a sudden impulse. This allows the lightning to settle into a steady glow. We stand at the threshold of a new epoch. As Uranus settles into the house of Gemini tomorrow, the silence of the last 84 years is being replaced by a celestial symphony of innovation and awakening. We have explored the weight of history, the shifting mechanics of our perception, and the specific call to the three signs destined for a life-altering breakthrough. Remember, the end quote, shock and quote, of Uranus is never meant to destroy you. It is meant to release you. It is the divine hammer striking the flint to create the spark of your next evolution. The message coming your way may arrive in a whisper, a shout, or a sudden realization that makes the world look entirely different than it did this morning. Do not fear the instability. In the realm of the spirit, chaos is simply the state of a new order being born. You are being rewired to handle more light, more truth, and more freedom than ever before. The end quote, old you end quote, could not navigate the world that is coming, but the end quote, you end quote, that is being forged in this electric transit is ready to soar. As you move through the events of tomorrow, stay curious. Treat every conversation as a potential gateway and every disruption as a divine detour. The universe is speaking a language of lightning and logic. All you have to do is listen with an open mind. Before you go, take a moment to reflect. What is the one area of your life where you have felt and quote, stuck in quote, or in quote, limited in quote? Write it down, and then consciously give it over to the energy of Uranus. Ask the Great Awakener to bring the clarity you need. I invite you to share your experiences in the comments as they unfold. Our community thrives when we share these in quote, cosmic signals and quote, with one another. The wait of nearly a century is over. The sky is charging, the message is sent, and your future is calling. Are you ready to answer? Trust the process, stay in the light, and I will see you in the next frequency.